You ever walk into your own garage expecting peace and quiet, only to find a shiny red Blazer parked right where your truck should be and a stranger holding a remote like she owns the place? Yeah, that happened. This garage falls under community standards, she tells me, like those words are a golden ticket to park wherever she wants. Never mind the locked door. Never mind, this is my home. For a second, I just stand there blinking, listening to the engine ticking down, thinking, is this my life now? Is this how it goes? You do everything right for years. And one day the circus rolls in and sets up camp in your own garage. I wasn't even mad yet. Not really. I was just trying to wrap my head around the ambush. The more this woman, Claudia Patterson, grinned, the more my skin crawled. You think you know your rights until somebody shows up waving a mystery remote, acting like rules don't apply to her. I wanted to keep my cool, but honestly, I was so stunned I had to make sure I wasn't the crazy one here. So let me know, would you have kept your cool or would you have lost it right there? Sophie and I, we've lived here 3 years, paid every HOA fee, followed all those silly rules about mailbox colors and how tall your grass can be. Not once did anybody say they needed access to our garage for an inspection. But here's Claudia just helping herself, not even a knock. I grabbed a sheet of paper, scrawled out a trespass warning, unauthorized entry documented pending police verification, and taped it up where everyone could see. Claudia just watched that smug look glued to her face like I was a kid throwing a tantrum instead of a homeowner standing his ground. Listen, Jordan, she starts saying my first name like we're old friends. She rattles off something about maintenance access protocol, reads the rules like she's the voice of God. But under all that policy talk is a tone that says you're not like the others, so I'm treating you different. That's when I pulled out my phone and called the non-emergency line. Not 911, not yet, just enough to get this whole mess on the record. So picture this. I'm waiting for the cops, adrenaline pounding, when Sophie comes home. I hear her tires on the gravel, her footsteps speeding up when she spots the Dodge. Jordan, why is there a car in our garage? And who's this? She's not scared? Not Sophie, she's mad and sharp as a tack. Claudia tries to go all nice to meet you. Like this is a block party, but Sophie isn't buying it. Property inspections need written notice. This looks a lot like breaking and entering. Then she's snapping pictures, the remote, the car, the HOA tags, all of it. Claudia snaps back. Ma'am, you need to stop photographing HOA equipment. That's community property. But Sophie's not having it. This is my garage. I'll photograph what I want. Right then, Officer Lewis rolls up, calm, deliberate, the kind of cop who watches before talking. He listens as I explain, looks over the paperwork. Claudia shoves at him, then says, Ma'am, do you have written authorization or a court order? Claudia rifles through her purse, waving generic HOA cards. Officer Lewis is polite, but he sees right through her. Sir, these are general credentials. There's nothing here about garage inspections or emergency access. Homeowner has the right to refuse entry. I could have hugged that man. But I kept looking at that remote. It wasn't the one we got with the house. It had too many buttons worn out, programming stickers with multiple addresses. Sophie zeroes in, takes close-ups of the serial numbers. Jordan, this remote's programmed for more than just our address. Look at this, Master Access Property Services. The thing buzzes faintly like it's been in use all over the neighborhood. The thought of someone wandering in and out of our garage whenever they want chills me to the bone. Then, as if on cue, Rebecca Thompson, the HOA treasurer, shows up out of breath. Claudia, we've been looking for the missing master access card. It was checked out 3 days ago, never returned. The garage goes silent. Claudia's gone pale. Officer Lewis starts taking notes. Now, it's not just a civil matter, it's starting to look criminal. Sophie plugs the remote into her laptop, IT wizard that she is. Jordan, look at this. There have been multiple entries to our garage while we weren't home. Device logs prove it. My blood is boiling. Officer Lewis, dead serious now, tells Claudia, HOA authority does not extend to private homes without permission. This is unauthorized use of community equipment for personal access. Sophie digs deeper, finds a pattern: unauthorized entries to half a dozen homes, not just ours. Claudia tries to snatch the remote, but the officer steps in. "Ma'am, keep your hands visible. This is evidence now." That's when Claudia's cool completely cracks, and you can see she's not used to losing control. She tries to bluff. "Maybe there was some miscommunication, but I was only doing my duty. But Officer Lewis isn't having it. Move your vehicle, return the device." Sophie, scrolling through logs, calls out Jordan. She's been in at least 6 other garages. Claudia explodes. "That's proprietary HOA information. You have no right to analyze it." Officer Lewis steps between them. "Actually, ma'am, they do." So now I'm looking at my garage feeling invaded. Not just property, but trust. Sophie squeezes my hand as Claudia's cuffed and led out. "You did the right thing, Jordan. Standing up to abuse isn't easy." The officer hands me a case number, but just as we step into the evening air, my phone buzzes anonymous text. "You think you won today? But this neighborhood has standards. Watch yourself, Mitchell." Sophie just rolls her eyes. They're quick, aren't they? But I screenshot and send it to Officer Lewis. That night I barely sleep, wondering how deep this rabbit hole goes. The next day we start visiting neighbors: the old lady 2 doors down, the guy with the immaculate lawn, the family across the street who always seemed a little nervous. Turns out Claudia's inspections were systematic. She'd target certain homes, minorities, new residents, families with decorations that didn't fit the neighborhood look. People were scared, isolated, told they'd be fined or publicly shamed if they spoke up. With Rebecca's help, we collect mountains of evidence records, logs, missing work orders, double-billed invoices. Sophie uncovers $15,000 in fraudulent payments. The whole time, Claudia and her supporters crank up the pressure. Anonymous calls, nasty flyers, whispers about how we're destroying community harmony. The HOA president himself calls, trying to talk me into dropping it. "You need to consider the broader community impact, Jordan." I nearly laugh. They care more about property values than justice. But by now I'm past being intimidated. We organize the targeted families, present evidence at the next HOA meeting. It's chaos. Half the room backs Claudia, the other half just wants answers. When Rebecca stands up and lays out the official records, you can feel the air shift. One by one, people speak up: stories of unauthorized entries, cultural targeting, intimidation. Claudia plays the victim, shouts about being persecuted by outsiders. But for the first time, the truth is louder than the lies. Officer Lewis leads a public demonstration of the remote fresh batteries. Door opens, access logs exposed. No more plausible deniability. Claudia's arrested on the spot for criminal trespass, official misconduct, fraud. The board scrambles. Some members resign. Emergency elections are called. It's ugly, public, divisive, but now it's out in the open. 6 months later, our garage has new concrete, new security, new policies requiring written notice for any HOA access. Rebecca's still treasurer. Sophie runs digital transparency, and neighbors who barely spoke before now share meals and stories. The community isn't perfect. Some folks still glare, a few never forgave us, but we're safer, stronger, and more accountable than before. I regret that it had to get this far, that so many people got hurt before anyone spoke up. But I don't regret demanding accountability. Sometimes you have to risk being called a troublemaker to make a place worth living in. So tell me, if you saw something like this in your neighborhood, would you fight or would you let it slide? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story made you think or made you mad, hit that little thanks button. It keeps these stories alive. Stay safe out there. Don't let anyone tell you your rights are optional.